You're listening to Me and Paranormal You with your host, Ryan Singer. It's more fun to believe. Third year bonus. And welcome to the show. This is your host, Ryan Singer, and this is the podcast, Me and Paranormal You. Hi, this is a third year bonus. Hello. Hi. That's an interesting way to say hi for the first time ever. I mean, that's not the first time I've ever said hi. That's that would be ridiculous to think that. But it is the first time I've said hi in such a manner that I am aware of. Anyway, welcome to the program. This is a third year bonus, which means it's a solo episode. I'm going to be reading some excerpts. What an interesting word. E-X-C-E-R-P-T-S. A lot of really fun letters jammed together with only one vowel used twice in that word. Excerpts. Okay, you know, it's like if you take the ing out of things, you just get. Okay, it's jazz. Okay, so I want to read you just real quick, just to kick things off here. I'd like to read you an excerpt from Operation Trojan Horse, written by John Keel, the classic breakthrough study on UFOs. This is roughly 151 and 152 page numbers. He's talking about UFO reports and the history of UFO reports. It's a classic case study on the history of object sightings. So Keel writes, in other words, we have thousands upon thousands of UFO sightings that force two unacceptable answers upon us. One, all the witnesses were mistaken. I'm having what you might call a day. Okay, maybe we might get into that a little bit later. Number one, all the witnesses were mistaken or lying. Number two, some tremendous unknown civilization is exerting an all-out effort to manufacture thousands of different types of UFOs and is sending all of them to our planet. So those are the two unacceptable answers thrust upon us, according to Keel when he wrote this book many years ago. The governments of the world have seized upon variations of the first explanation, which was the mistaken or lying one. The UFO enthusiasts accept the second. I do not accept either one. Instead, I propose a third alternative. I think that some, quote, hard, unquote, objects definitely exist as temporary transmogrifications. They are disc-shaped and cigar-shaped. They leave indentations in the ground when they land. Witnesses have touched them and have even been inside of them. These hard objects are decoys, just as the dirigibles and ghost planes of yesteryear may have been decoys to cover the activities of the multitudinous soft objects. My real concern is with these soft objects. They hold one of the keys to the mystery. There are countless sightings of objects that change size and shape in front of the viewers or split into several smaller objects, each going off in a different direction. In some cases, this process was reversed, with several small lights converging together to form a single large one, which then went dashing off. Over and over again, witnesses have told me in hushed tones, I don't think that thing I saw was mechanical at all. I got the distinct impression that it was alive. Researchers such as John Bessor and Ivan T. Sanderson, ding, 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 don't we love Ivan, have openly discussed the possibility that some UFOs may indeed be living creatures. It's a mixed bag. You can take your choice. Every belief can be supported to some degree, but in the final analysis, when you review all of the evidence, none of them can be completely proven beyond a reasonable doubt. That's from Chapter 7 in Operation Trojan Horse, written by the legendary John Keel. Why am I reading an excerpt from this book? There's an interesting, to say the least, mention here of these things being alive, these physical things being alive, right? These objects that seem to have life to them, and described as soft as well, and also changing shape. Shifting shape, would we say that is the same thing as changing shape? I'm pretty sure we would. I was at Poasttown Elementary School 2 nights ago now. Golly gee, was it 2 nights ago now? It was 2 nights ago. On Monday night, I went there with Eric from Epic Paranormal, my buddy, Epic Eric, and my new friends, Tyler and Kenzi B, were there as well. So we had a really great time investigating Poasttown Elementary School until 4:30 in the morning, Tuesday. Wow, that's how you ring in your birthday. It was my birthday on Tuesday, July 9th is my birthday. So that's how we rung in the birthday. I mean, what a great time. They surprised me with a cake and, some gifts. I'm not really a cake guy, but it was a homemade cake and I ate 3 pieces. So I am a cake guy. When someone bakes me a cake, I am a cake guy, it turns out. Even if, the flavor's not even my, my jam, I'm still gobbling it down, you know what I mean? So that was a ton of fun. I had a couple experiences at Poasttown I'd like to discuss with you that, tie into this soft changing. I don't understand what I saw in many ways. And, potentially I never will. I saw things at Poasttown that I had heretofore never seen before. For example, different colored lights that were tiny, let's call them pinpoint lights, inside that were on and then off. Not so much flashing as much as they were existing and then they were just gone, off. They were not moving, they were stationary. They just, boom. The first time we were in the principal's office, which is an interesting room. I've done, admittedly, I've done very little investigation in there, in this back hallway on the first floor. I've never been drawn to that room necessarily as much as other people have been. And so we went into this room because Kenzi and Tyler were really drawn to it and really wanted to go there. So, and Eric was off doing a solo thing for his live stream. We're in there and it's very quiet, very, very, very quiet. And I have a GF1, which, it has REM pod, it has geofoam on it, geophone on it. I mean, so it's like vibration, it's, movement, that kind of thing. So it's a multi-reed instrument, if I'm getting that correct. So anyway, I have it on one of the empty shelves of this built-in bookcase wall. And above it, above where the device is, there is a shelf that's also empty. And it's very, very dark in there. It's late at night. It's probably 2 a.m, if I had to guess. And 2 white lights, quite bright, but not casting off light, if that makes sense. They were contained bright lights, almost as if they weren't emanating light to they weren't lighting up the things around them, which is this weird thing, right? That happens. So they just appeared as I was looking over in that direction. There were no other lights over there. And boom, 2 white lights. And then they're gone. I start talking about, oh my God, I just saw these lights, et cetera, et cetera. I'm talking about these lights. And then on this desk in front of the principal's desk is there, like a large desk, and then I believe there's like a tinier, smaller desk in front of it where there was a REM pod. And at the corner closest to me, we're talking a mere 2 feet away from me, probably maybe 3 feet at the most away from me. Not even, because it's not even a yardstick away. There was a singular green light, very bright, showed up. And then it was gone. So I mentioned this, and then Kenzie sees a green light, or 1 or 2 green lights, on the other side of the desk or somewhere else after I said that, and I was looking around talking, oh my God, I just saw this. What's happening? I'm not freaking out, but I am freaking out in a way that's not like a meltdown. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand what's going on, that kind of thing. It was very exciting, but it was also, it's just kind of, these things happen on an investigation out of nowhere, and you're just kind of like, what's happening, right? And so then simultaneously, we got a word through, I think there's an app called Spirit Talker. It's you can download it on your phone. It's kind of an ITC device, and it says demon, I think, or something. Tyler had it. And at that same time, Eric is you hear Eric kind of freaking out. He comes through on the walkie-talkie that we have, being like, are you guys upstairs? Are you guys upstairs? We're like, no. He's like, there's a light up here. Someone with a flashlight is around the corner up. Someone's walking around here with a flashlight. And we're like, well, it wasn't us, and we're the only 4 people in the building. And it was quite late, so Daryl's not awake, walking around or doing anything. Neither is his wife, who bakes me that delicious birthday cake. So we end up getting together and meeting up and, kind of discussing about what happened. And, the energy starts to get, pretty different. The later and later you hang out in that building, just the thicker and the weirder it feels in that school. There is a compounding effect of strangeness that happens inside the walls of Poasttown. When I will admit, when I first show up, at least on this last trip, I was kind of like, oh, this is, this place isn't haunted. If I know better. I definitely, BC Dubs, I know better, by the way. And it's not that I'm like, this place isn't haunted. It's more like I am not ready to, I am not tuned in yet to being able to be aware of activity, is how that should be said. We just scarfed down a bunch of birthday cake. I was surprised, boom. And then it was like, flip a switch. Let's go investigate and talk to the dead or the other side or the interdimensional. So it's kind of a, it's kind of a 90-degree turn. It's like you have to turn on a dime, and it takes me a minute to, decompress from that and then get into investigation mode, right? And so, but it happened quite quickly while we're upstairs. This is the other thing that, the other very strange thing that I saw with thine own eyes, with my own 2 eyes. I saw this, and I had never seen this before at Poasttown, or I had never seen it anywhere else, quite frankly. We're in the room adjacent to the doll room, so there's like a connecting room. Well, it's kind of the doll room. The doll room's kind of a double room, and there's chairs in a circle, and in the middle of the circle, the only light in the room, Eric has a flashlight on his rig. He's got these 2 phones because he's simulcasting on YouTube Live and TikTok Live at the same time, right? And every once in when he would kind of pan over, and you could see through his flashlight smoke in the room, almost like vape smoke, right? Like someone was vaping. But it was about, 4 feet off the ground. And it wasn't moving, as if someone had been sitting in a room vaping, and then they stopped, and there's no fan, there's no draft or anything like that. And as someone who, during the pandemic, just vaped nonstop in their room, nicotine pods, I know exactly what that looks like, right? There's this vapor that just sits there, and it's not moving. It's like a vapor shelf hanging out, right? That's what it looked like in my room at times. So I'd just be binging all those Sylvester Stallone movies that I could, vaping nonstop, like a man. I wonder why I was depressed. So so I see this, and I'm just like, what's going on? There's smoke in the room, and then Eric can't see the smoke. I believe Kenzi doesn't see the smoke. I believe Tyler sees the smoke. One of them saw the smoke. I can't remember. Forgive me. And so then, I try to switch spots with Eric so he can see it. He's not seeing it. I'm trying to recreate it with his flashlight so he can see what I was seeing, and he's not seeing it. I come back over. I'm seeing it. I put my hand like there, underneath or in it, kind of, like right underneath it. and I move it around like in a swirling motion almost, right? Like my hand is flat, palm up, and I'm moving it around, in a circle, kind of like a flat circle. And it's not moving. I am not affecting the vapor that I see with the draft that I'm creating, with the movement that I'm doing with my hand, and then I tried to, recreate it again, I think, or I wanted other people to see it. I don't know why I didn't even, my phone was down on the chair or something. I wasn't recording. I made the giant mistake of being in the moment of a paranormal investigation and not documenting. I made the huge error of just doing the thing I was there to be doing and not collecting evidence, which ultimately is another reason why we are there, to try to collect some proof of anomalies, paranormal phenomena, etc., high strangeness, whatever you want to call it. And I did not, because I was just, I'm like a puppy. I get excited and I'm just, I'm not thinking about, I got to document this. And they should be one of my thoughts, but it wasn't. And I don't even know if I would have been able to. Maybe with a camera, maybe if I would have switched into photo mode, I could have got it. But anyway, the point is this phenomena, the word that had stuck in my mind, specifically even more so with the vapor thing I saw, and it wasn't big, maybe the size of a football, right? The word that sticks out in my mind and was in my brain about all of this, and about that experience in general specifically, and a little bit with the lights too, was soft. For some reason, I was thinking about soft, and it seemed so soft to me, and I don't know what it even means at the time, to the point of where my train of thought was, or why I was accessing that word as a descriptor for the experience I had and the thing I had seen. I don't know why soft was one of the words, but it was. And then you read, you hear what I read from Operation Trojan Horse, and you hear John Keel's words, soft. And now I have read this. Is it something that was in my mind, locked away in my box of words, and so that's why I accessed it. And potentially, that is a potentiality. Indeed, it really is. But for some reason, I wasn't thinking about John Keel or Operation Trojan Horse when I was in that room trying to move the football-sized vapor cloud that was sedentary or static. Something soft about it, something transmutable about the nature of what it was, as opposed to its physical characteristics in the moment. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It was thrilling, and so were the lights. The lights were also thrilling. And then there was some really loud noises happening in that mean teacher hallway, where there's always noises, it seems like. I think I'm doing this now, where if I hear the music, that means I got to take a break. So we're going to go quick commercial here. So patrons, $3 a month gets you no commercials. You know that. This episode will be up. Usually it's at least hours before the main feed. So commercial free over at patreon.com/Ryan Singer. Tour dates are coming out real soon. I'll be performing them. They're, some of them are on my website, ryansingercomedy.com/tour. So I hope to see you at a live show. Anyway, patreon.com/Ryan Singer, $3 a month. That's not very much. I implore you to, sign up and support the podcast. I really appreciate it. Big projects are coming up, going back to Florida, all kinds of big things. Also film projects. Things are cooking. Books. Things are being written. Documentaries are being edited. So much good stuff. We'll be right back after this short break. And we're coming back into the program. Welcome back. I just want to get back into the Book of Symbols, Reflections on Archetypal Images by Taskin. So I want to read a little bit about fog. There's a section on fog in here, page 78. If you have this book, this book is a behemoth. It's like 700 pages, so it's a hell of a book. So let's read a little. I mean, there's some artwork that I can't obviously reference here for you. Image-wise, I guess I could. If this was like properly. Oh no, I will not. I'm not gonna talk badly about Nigel, a producer. I was gonna say if this was properly produced, then these images would be inserted onto the. I don't have copyright. I mean, they're copyrighted images. Anyway, they'd be on the video or whatever, right? And listen. I'm not here to talk badly about Nigel. Nigel actually sent me a video birthday message that I'm going to post over at the Patreon page. And oh my God, it touched me. It really did. It warmed my heart. Eric, when I got to Poasttown, he's like, "Oh, by the way, I got a surprise for you. Our buddy Nigel has a gift for you." And it was a video message from Nigel. I mean, can you believe that guy? He made a video message for my birthday. He surprised me. So let me read a little bit about fog here from the Book of Symbols, Reflections on Archetypal Imagery, or Images. Okay, so let's get into a quote here. Quote, "Fog in my throat," end quote, was Robert Browning's metaphor for approaching death in his writing Prospis. Fog may arise from the work of demonic beings in fairy tales, or surround Shakespeare's witches, who comment on the, quote, "fog and filthy air." That's from Macbeth. In Asian legend, it may represent strange moods in which spirits appear. Widely, though, fog is taken to represent confusion, uncertainty, indefiniteness, a state between the real and the unreal. While fog seems vaporous, we feel it because it is formed by the condensation of very small water droplets around microscopic dust particles in the air. Fog limits horizontal vision. Less dense, it is called haze or mist. Unlike clouds, its base is on or near the ground, and its symbolism is associated not with the sky, but within the earth realm. Sometimes fog is seen as enfolding, blanketing. T.S. Eliot imagined fog as a yellow cat that rubs its back upon the window pane, and finally curled once about the house and fell asleep. Contemporary poet Nan Hunt refers to fog as the mummy wrap of soft white that hints of resurrection. Fog is not favorable to direct action. Ships, planes, and fast-moving humans are delayed or stopped. A slower, more cautious awareness arises. Symbolically, the world of clear rational thought gives way to dreaminess, ambiguity, a kind of knowing that is more nuanced, less absolute. This knowing is perhaps more valued in the East than in the West. Zen sage Kizan Zenji puts it, though clear waters range to the... Sorry, my glasses. Though clear waters range to the vast blue autumn sky, how can they compare with the hazy moon on a spring night? Most people want to have pure clarity, but sweep as you will, you cannot empty the mind. Okay, so the interesting thing that's referenced here about fog is it's of the earth realm more than the sky realm. And take note to slow your roll when fog arises. That's interesting. Now, in a situation such as this that I was referencing, my encounter with this cloud, this little patch, this tiny little football of vapor, of fog, or whatever. I had just gotten all jacked up and juiced up on Shug Shug, eating some 3 slices of birthday cake. Maybe it was like, hey, slow down. And it was a good reminder to slow. And it was also 100 degrees inside the school, and we were sweating through our clothing within moments of being upstairs because heat rises, right? So part of me was like, am I seeing actual humidity with my own eyes right now? But that was not the case. I don't believe that was the case. So what we have here is, this beautiful, I guess it's a beautiful collaboration between the physical and the non-physical realms. When there is seemingly a play or some kind of theatrical production unfolding or being played out right in front of our eyes, whether it's a residual haunting that seems to have a script that the players dare not deviate from, or more like some kind of transcendent or ethereal improv show happening where the spirits and the entities or the phenomena itself is given free range to negotiate its own responses and or yes ands for all my improv heads out there. We love when there's communication. And this communication and this interaction, I guess, is more, it's more conducive when something is not on a hardcore script that it has to stick to. Like a residual haunting will not interact with you necessarily as much as you are there to simply observe it as if you are watching a movie or a play or a comedy show. But I guess if someone starts doing crowd work, then maybe it's but then it's like, get out of that house because that's going to be some bad, it's going to be some bad hauntings. No, I'm just kidding. So what are we going to do here? Are we going to move past the basic ideas of communication and figure out how to transcend the language aspect of getting to know one another or receiving or sending information? That seems to me the biggest frustration as an investigator, is getting past all of that, is moving the conversation along. If there was some kind of way to have kind of like, okay, we all know that this is where we're at already as far as information goes. Maybe that is the benefit of a long-term investigation as opposed to popping in for a night here, popping in for a night there. Maybe you get a couple nights, if you're lucky, at a location where there's all kinds of activity. Then you get to know something a little bit better, or some things a little bit better. They get to know you as well. When you go squatching, it behooves the researcher, the investigator, to be at a location for more than a few days to settle into the environment, let nature get used to you being there. Why would it be any different, actually, in a haunted house or a haunted school or a prison or infirmary or whatever, right? I don't know why I'm just now... I'm sure I've thought of this before. I don't know if we've spoken about this before on the podcast, but it would seem to behoove the researcher, and I suppose I haven't watched 28 Days or the Netflix thing. I don't have Netflix. So, and I don't have someone else's login. So I haven't seen that. Now, one of the guys, Aaron was, I don't know if we did a podcast. I think, we did, but there, if you remember for, the hardcore Mappy heads, and Mappy is me and Paranormal You, that's the acronym. So the hardcore Mappy heads might remember me getting a really awesome, EVP or, not an EVP. I guess it was. But it was through an ITC device, right? A voice came through the, ITC device, the spirit box, and said, when I asked it because I was starving after a show, we did the investigation after the show. There was people downstairs partying, and we'd ordered some pizza because I hadn't eaten, and by the time I got down there, the pizza was gone. And so I was like, what's waiting for me downstairs? And it said pizza, and it's a really, it just nailed it. It was a very clear call and response. That it wasn't like 5 minutes later we hear pizza. It was pretty immediate after the question was asked. Now, if you settle into a place much like nature, because let's be real here. I'm reading earlier from Operation Trojan Horse, which is about UFO phenomena, right? And I am applying it to something I saw in a haunted school. So, I mean, you know me, I think all of this stuff is interchangeable and interconnected. So that's why I feel comfortable doing that. Some people might have a problem with doing that. It's like, oh, you're blowing away specificity. You're transposing. You're or whatever that word. The correct word would be like you're attributing attributes to something that from something else that is not deserved or appropriate. It's not that it's inappropriate. You know what I mean? I'm of the school of thought that it's all connected through consciousness, and as you know, I'm an idealist. So I think that when it comes to the nature of UFO phenomena, we can extrapolate that out into paranormal phenomena of the ghost of hauntings and things like that. At the very least, there are going to be a ton of characteristics. Maybe not all of them. Okay, let's allow for some individuality within the world of the unknown and the strange. But you can extrapolate a lot of these characteristics and a lot of these, I don't know, a lot of the, I guess, the heart and soul, if you want to call it that, of these phenomena to all the other ones. And I mean, it's no mistake. I make no mistake that the world of the paranormal and television. You've been watching the shows. You're seeing where Skinwalker Ranch has been going, right? It's getting more woo woo as it goes, right? Like back, I don't know, 10 years ago when we were doing this, it was forbidden to be woo woo about some of these physical phenomena. There were plenty of people who have been marginalized within the paranormal community or ufology for woo-wooing up UFOs, for woo-woofos, woo UFOs. There's got to be a better way to say that, woofio. So, they're not they're not UFOs, they're woofos. They're woofos. That's it. UFOs. Why did it take me that long to get there? So, I'm a believer in UFOs. So that's a t-shirt. We got to get this t-shirt pressed. I said pressed and printed at the same time. Pressed. We got to get it pressed up. So I'm going to make these t-shirts tonight. UFOs. So I want to be abducted by a UFO. A very spiritual UFO that's like very chill and cool and just helps you unlock your psyche. I don't want to be abducted. Let me take that back. I'm not trying to put that on the universe. So anyway, you would be marginalized. You'd be pushed aside. You'd be laughed at by the people who were laughed at by mainstream society. So if you got too woo-woo with this stuff, and you know me, woo-woo is good. It's a good word. And people are like, yeah, you can't say woo-woo is a good word. I'm like, yes, I can. I'm saying it is a good word. I've embraced the woo. Embrace the woo is what I say. So anyway, any woo. There's another t-shirt. We got a couple t-shirts. Woo-FO and any woo. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So you can attribute these, or you can, at the very least, you can do a mental exercise. And you can consider the possibility that some of the characteristics, if not all, of certain UFO, UAP, whatever you want to call it, phenomena, can be potentially congruent with cryptid research or phenomena or ghost, spirit, interdimensional phenomena. The anomalies don't need to be vacuum sealed into tight little bags and separated in aisles with different price tags. They can be just all in the same paranormal bargain bin, if you will. I think that makes sense to everybody, right? one metaphor into another, one analogy into a metaphor. I mean, what is even the difference? An analogy is like or as, and a metaphor doesn't use those words. Okay, so I am an eagle that flies high in the sky. That would be, that's a metaphor. I fly like an eagle. Steve Miller Band is an analogy. Okay, fly like an eagle to sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle. That's an analogous. That's an analogistic song. I was going to say analogous. Analog is tick. Analogistic. Okay, so here we go. Just keep it together for a little bit longer and you'll be a person. Okay, that's what we're trying to make people to believe. We've never really been that concerned about that. Okay, so sorry, I had a sidebar there with myself. So we can assume that paranormal phenomena is soft. And I think that's a safe assumption to make, that it is changing, it is malleable, it is, I don't know, what's that word I'm looking for? It's picky. It depends. It depends on the observer, and it depends on the mood it's in, potentially. Now, what affects the mood? I'm not saying it woke up on the wrong side of the ethereal bed, but the temperature or the barometric pressure or the physical space that it's occupying, the energies of the people who are entering the room trying to observe it. These are the things that make it adapt or change its mind, quote unquote, and behave in different ways and be soft. I think that it's really kind of already accepted for the most part. That phenomena will appear to the observer in a way that the observer is more prepared to understand or see it or feel it, experience it in some kind of way. Whether we're talking about a larger scale shift in visual phenomena from angels, from fairies to angels to aliens to UFOs, that kind of thing, right? Which you could say that the archetypes, if we want to go back to the symbology of this, and the archetypal imagery that our brain processes, maybe just certain types of energy, right? That do have. I don't want to say it's not ambition, but it has agency. Oh yeah, I like that. Oh yeah, that groove. That my brain just felt like it got tickled. Like these phenomena have agency. These energies have agency. That doesn't mean they're walking around. And I'm not. We don't. But as human beings, we want to kind of like personify all this stuff, and we want to make this energy be a Greek god instead of just a force of nature that exists that we couldn't grab by the wrist or by the hand and take a walk through the woods with. But we like that. We like to personify it. So that's why there's so many different Greek gods, I believe, because we're personifying all these different energies. That's why there's all these different saints in the Catholic Church, in the religion. We're personifying different energies. Like, oh, I lost something. I need to find it. So, you do Saint Joseph or whatever will help you find your stuff. So the patron saint of fill in the blank. It's like Mad Libs, right? But for energy. So these things have agency, and it doesn't mean that they are isolated or in a localized position, condensed into a form that has a personality that changes or that experiences anger, fear, love, lust, jealousy, or laughter. I'm just kind of spitballing here. You get it. But I love this idea that it does have agency. So why do two people in a room see the fog, see this cloud, this vapor, football-sized thing, and other two people do not? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. And that's one of the fun things about being on an investigation. And that's also another thing about, you should always, I'm not telling you how to live your life. Oh, it sounds like we need to be taking a break here, but it's very enjoyable in my opinion to investigate with people you've never investigated with before. And also people who have a connection to a location without trying to download into you or into the investigation everybody who's there, and this is who it is, and this is why they're there. And if you're talking to, that's who you're going to be talking to. And this is where this happens. And if you're in this space and something happens, it's this, or it's this person kind of thing, right? We don't need that. We don't need to be locked into a narrative. Let's have a little more flexibility. Patreon.com/Ryan Singer. We're going to be right back after a short break. I'm gonna wet my throat hole, my pipe, and so I can enunciate and pronunciate. God, I'm very excited about some really fun interviews that are coming up. Karen Rontowski, Dash Kwiatkowski. Oh, we got all kinds of great stuff happening. Jim Harold's going to be back on the show. Oh, we'll be right back. Patreon.com/Ryan Singer. Thank you so much, patrons. I love you. I really do. Thanks for the support. And we've come back into the program just like that. Thanks again to the patrons. I mean, you can be a free patron, by the way. You can go over there and just, not pay anything. And there are some things that happen for the free patrons over there. And and there's other things that I need to get to. I feel so backlogged on some of these videos I need to get up for the patrons. Like some sneak peeks, some video from, we'll see what I got. But anyway, let's get back into what we were talking about. I'm talking about these ideas. Wow, what a profound thing to say. I'm talking about these energies having agency, right? And it's obviously not a new idea, right? If we go to The Trickster and the Paranormal with George P. Hansen, you go to page 216, you can find this. This is interesting. It ties in a little bit. I mean, it does. It does. I swear to God, it does. You mean you're using outside resources to supplement an opinion you have? What are you talking about? Why would I do that? I just kind of riff off the top. And then, you don't just kind of hope it works out? No, that's how you live your life. George P. Hansen writes, both religious and conspiracy theories put the phenomena in frameworks, and some structure and limitation are thereby imposed. Action can be taken. Gods can be propitiated, dangerous humans avoided. Outsiders may see such beliefs as paranoid or as crackpot religion, but it is not unreasonable to adopt such perspectives when confronted with strong manifestations of autonomous, intelligent power. That's basically saying energy with agency is basically what that's saying. It can be difficult to differentiate synchronicities and other psychic phenomena from those due to a conspiracy. A minor experience of my own may illustrate the idea. In the fall of 1989, I was asked to comment on the early version of The Controllers, a manuscript by Martin Cannon on government mind control that went on to become something of an underground classic in some ufology circles. Within a few days of beginning my written commentary, I was called by a hospital in New York City and asked if I would take part in an experiment. They wanted to inject me with sodium pentothal and monitor my brainwaves. This was startling because I had not before or since been asked to take part in anything remotely similar. I did not really suspect that was part of some conspiracy to monitor my activity, but I was taken aback. Psi phenomena, including synchronicities, are somewhat, quote, idioplastic. That is, they respond to and are shaped by the ideas, beliefs, and anxieties of the observers, a fact demonstrated in both laboratory and field studies. The phenomena also display a measure of independent intelligence. This is unlike most natural sciences, which deal primarily with non-conscious entities. When an investigator studies something that can be intentionally deceitful and has intelligence-gathering capabilities of its own, the usual paradigms of science are inadequate. New frameworks and perspectives are needed. Indeed, in some circumstances, science may not be useful. Rather, approaches taken from the field of intelligence may be more appropriate. UFO researcher Jacques Vallée made this point in his book Messengers of Deception, written in 1979. Paranoia is an occupational hazard of paranormal investigation, and there is an affinity between conspiracy theories and the occult. This occurs in many contexts. I have known witchcraft groups that engaged in magical battles and cast spells against others, fearing themselves to be under magical attack. I have heard rumors of psychotronics practitioners directing death rays against rivals. Parenthetically, psychotronics mixes electronics and occultism. The level of paranoid conspiracy theorizing is even greater in the unbounded paranormal areas, such as crop circles, cattle mutilations, and ufology. Some of the rumors in the UFO field during the 1980s and early 90s described sinister government treaties with ET aliens that allowed biological experimentation on citizens. Others told of underground alien bases. Government personnel spread a number of these stories, as will be described in the next chapter. Okay, so there was one more thing. There was some serious speculation that President John F. Kennedy was killed because he was about to reveal the truth of the ETs. So there are so many great, and let me rephrase that word. That's not the right word, and it's not what I believe. I mean, there are so many fascinating and varying conspiracy theories about the death of JFK. Why was he assassinated? What was the main, who killed him and why? And actually, my buddy Ed Brown, who's been on the program, Big Truth, Paranormal. His brother is one of the his brother I think had the Zapruder tape because you can put into habit. Anyway, his brother knows more about the JFK assassination than probably anybody I've ever talked to, even though I've never met him. Okay, getting back to it. So what we're talking about is the intelligence, and like I said, it's not a new idea that energy has agency. I got to write this down because I like that phrase. Energy has agency. I'm going to write it down on my phone right now as we are speaking to one another, and by speaking to one another, I mean I am speaking to you from the past in my future. And your energy from the future is influencing what I say in my present, which is your past and also my past. Energy has agency. A memoir by a particle's memoir. Energy has agency. I am just a particle. Okay. Is that the next Pixar movie? Particle? My name is Petey the Particle. Okay, I was getting ready to go on a rant about mitochondria. And then it occurred to me, I don't know anything about mitochondria other than it's the powerhouse of the cell. So I just see this little thing like inside the cell, like lifted, like, hey, gotta get jacked, gotta get juiced, yacked, cracked, stacked, and yacked. Because I'm the mitochondria and I'm making it happen. I'm the mighty, mighty mitochondria. Settle down, my mighty, mighty, mighty mitochondria. This is Zeus of the nucleus. Zeuscleus would be the god. Okay, I've just written a whole Pixar series inside my own head, and I'm going to spare you the details of how it ends. No spoilers, okay? No spoilers. So, I love this idea that phenomena presents itself differently. I've had this conversation many times with many different people. And I love this idea, too, of investigating with other people because you get to see different investigation styles, techniques, and, and different energies combine into a group energy that is different and provides different results. Is it a surprise that investigating a location that I've been to many times now, I witness phenomena I had not witnessed or experienced before, and I was there with people I had never met previously, at least in person? I don't think it's a coincidence. I think if we mix it up, right? I mean, it's great to have your team. I love the team aspect. Or, I guess my team, the team that I'm a part of, we don't have a name. We don't have a group name or, things like that. Although I have been very, very tempted to get embroidered fanny packs because there's a couple of the guys in the group are just like, yeah, I'm not wearing a fanny pack. And it's like, come on, a fanny pack is just the best thing in the world. Uh, you know, get a little more comfortable with yourself and lean into the fanny pack, my friend. So, but yeah, so we don't have a name, but there are a group of people that I investigate with regularly. Um, obviously, that's just kind of what happens. I've never been a person who, I don't know, I do well on a team, I think. I do. I think I can operate within the team dynamic, but I don't like to be signing contracts to be on a, to play for an organization and not other organizations. Unless there's any television producers out there listening, I'll sign a contract right now. I don't even have to read it. I got paid $6 for 5 years of television. What? It's because you didn't read it. Okay, so, and that's not much less than what you get paid to be on TV in the paranormal world. So, you're not going to get rich. So, anyway, the point is, mixing up different combinations, different energies of the observer probably bring about different manifestations or different presentations from the observed. If I'm being observed by different people, I am behaving differently. I'd like to sit here in this chair and say that I am a rock. I am a personality that is so comfortable with who I am, and I have become the truest form of my own essence and the energy from the beginning of the universe that has manifested itself in many different variations as the physical form of me, that I don't change how I behave or act or speak or what I would do, and at all. It doesn't matter who I'm around. But that's not true, is it? It's not true at all. There are certain times I am much more reserved. There have been, I don't know how many people in my life I've met who are like, you do comedy, but you don't seem fat. It's just like, yeah, because I'm not running around like a wind-up clown all the time. Okay? Now, there are certain people I get around and the energy just popping off. And I just can't help it but be such a silly, silly goose. That's just what happens. I can't help it. And then there's other people I'm around and where I'm a real dad, you know what I mean? Like the dad energy comes out. And then there's other people I'm around, like my dad, where I'm a real son energy. I'm a real just like, hey, I'm a boy. I'm your boy. Because he's my dad. Okay. So, yeah, our energy changes and the way we behave is different depending on who is observing us and who we are interacting with even, right? So it makes sense. These things we can, we can transcribe, we can extrapolate. I don't know if either of those words are being used correctly by me on this fine night. The morrow after the birth of me from years previous. I don't know if I'm using extrapolate or transcribe correctly necessarily, but let's just say I am. So that's the next move. That's the next interesting thing. And like I said, the Netflix series has done this. This isn't a new idea. I don't want to do 28 days. I'm not trying to do 28 days in a place. I'm just trying to do a few days in a row, right? You do a few days in a row at a place. And we do that in Florida. We're already doing that in Florida. So I guess I am doing that. Wow. I'm just realizing this. But there's a lot going on there, so it's a little bit different. But settle into the environment much the way a squatcher or a cryptid researcher would do, or a anthropologist. That makes sense. And depending on what kind of energy you are bringing, the phenomena will interact or be observed accordingly to the mix of that energy. And Not to say that some phenomena is like, I don't want to interact with this specific energy that is being brought to my space and won't present itself potentially. And maybe that's just the way it is, that there are certain things you'll never see or certain things you'll never get to experience because something about your energy, it's not that it's wrong, it's just it's not the right combination with the energy of the phenomena. And that's not to say that all energetic fingerprints of phenomena are the same, of a specific phenomena. Like not all ghosts have the same energy. Not all UFOs have the same energy. And as John Keel will tell you from his research of thousands and thousands of UFO cases, there are no two UFOs the same. So, if they are, in fact, soft, that means their energy is different. If their physical manifestation are all different, that can be as above, so below, as out, so in. Maybe we can make a jump there and we can say, that would be interesting. Probably because the outward physical manifestation of this particular phenomenon, of this UFO, is different than the energy or the, do you want to call it the agency, the personality of the energy from this one. They're all, UFOs are snowflakes. They're all unique. Maybe that's the new phrase. There's no two UFOs alike instead of snowflakes. Okay. I love you. I hope you love yourself. Thank you for listening to the program. Lots of great stuff coming up. I'm very excited to be, still doing this show 10 years later. So I hope you have found this enjoyable, and I hope you are finding the summer enjoyable. I know there are lots of things in the world going on that are harrowing, to say the least. Send love to those you can. I'm sending love to you. I am trying to change my world as best I can. And, I fail. I get upset sometimes. I'm not always Johnny cheerleader. Sometimes I'm Billy Burr. I don't know who those people are, but you get it. I love you. I hope you love yourself. I hope to see you at a live stand-up comedy show. And, I'm very excited. I'm going to, and here in a few days, I will be visiting Serpent Mount. Serpent Mounds. What are words? And so obviously I'll be telling you all about that, the Serpent Mounds. Here in Ohio, I'm going up to Michigan, see my buddy, Mario Creston, making a visit. So we'll definitely be doing a pod there as well. Be on the lookout for, I got a bunch of interviews coming up. It's been mostly solo lately, but you've got some interviews coming up. Make sure you go back and listen to that Jim Vernon interview. People are loving that one. Talking about philosophy and idealism and the universe, the nature of existence. Do that all day. So, yeah. So if I don't see you at a live show, I'll see you at the watering hole on the astral plane.